this price action and I'm looking at the highs that were put in, I'm looking at us lose the 5 SMA and come right down into the 10, right? So again, you know, those of you guys who are these aggressive scalpers who are trying to catch, you know, these little tiny moves, and you're trying to justify small pullbacks. Well, I've got a high at 16,133, right? Or 113. I got the 5-minute support here. We break that support. We kind of bounce up. I got a level here that could be shorted at 16,086. Now, if you short that, what are you going to have to use as a stop? Reason why candle. What's the reason why you're taking that trade? Well, the reason why we're taking this trade is because we snapped below this 5 SMA on a 5-minute time frame, and below that has room, right? Has room to the next area of demand. Stocks go from demand to demand, supply to supply. It's just the way that it goes. So if we look at losing 16,085, we can play that into 16,055s, right? 30 points on the way down, but you got to be taking profits into that. Even though it goes lower, you got to take profits into your area. Like, this is not your money, right? So here's one thing. Here's one thing I want to also point out and make a good point of. Sometimes we try to take trades and we try to squeeze them a little bit too much, right? We try to, you know, last time I sold too early and it ended up going another 40 points. Guys, that's not your money. Where is your money? Where is the money that belongs to you on your trade? I'm just using this as an example. I'm not even saying anyone took this trade, but I just want to use this as an example. The loss of the 5 SMA on a 5-minute time frame. I kind of drew this line below it. This is our reason why candle, okay? This is our entry candle. Our money is down here to the next area of demand. Someone else's money was a play below the 10 into the linear regression. That's someone else's money. That's not your money. Your money is here, from here to here on this particular play. Now, again, I'm not saying anyone took this trade. I'm just giving you an example. The only way you can stretch it down here is, let's say you took 5 contracts, 4 contracts. You sold 2 of them. You sold 3 of them into this support. You move your stop down, and then you hold a runner to the next area of demand. So if you're looking to squeeze more money, you got to sell your runners or sell your initial size where you need to sell it, and then hold your runners to the next area of demand or supply, whether you're going long or short. What I'm looking at here on the NASDAQ, you know, coming down into this 20 SMA, going sideways a little bit, you can see very congested here on my chart, right? It looks like a lot of nonsense going on here. So from 16,012 all the way down to 16,000, there's support. You got the 200, you got the 50, you got the 100, you got 150. You got a lot of junk, right? I'm not even going to go through every single one. Like, what are they? It's junk, right? It's a lot of support. It's what I'm looking at. So please, please, please do not look for shorts until we close below 16,000. Okay? Do not look for shorts until we close below 16,000. The last thing you want to do, unless you have space, right? We don't have any space here to short until we lose 16,000. So the last thing you want to do is get caught trying to short for a bigger move down when all the market is doing is just back testing and it's going to push up higher, right? We don't know if it's going to push up higher, but as of right now, until it proves to us that it loses 16,000, we're off support here. So my opinion, stay patient. Depends on how aggressive of a scalper you are. If you're aggressive, well, you can use these prior to 5-minute candle lows as a stop and sit your butt in this trade until you take profits, right? Or you can wait for us to get above supply, which is a 10 at 16,068, and then confirm that and then maybe play into the highs, or you can wait for the highs to get broken. So you have 3 options, right? Again, if that's confusing to you, then you need to stick with your setup. You need to stick with whatever you're looking for, right? I'm just speaking to everyone. So you got some people who like to try to scalp the little pullbacks. You have some people who want to bounce off support. You have some people who want to wait for breakouts. You have people who do a little bit of everything, right? They're all over the fucking place. The point is that what are you looking for? And right now you need to be sitting on your stump, waiting, allowing the trade to come to you, right? Allow that trade to come to you. It's not like this. Well, what's the next area to go long on the NQ? If you don't know that, you are shit out of luck. Well, what's the next area to, where should we go short on the NQ? You're playing a fool's game if you're doing that. What's your strategy tell you, right? What's your strategy tell you? What edge are you using today? What entries are you looking for today? That's when it's time to go long on the NQ. That's when it's time to go short on the NQ. You want to know when the last time to go long on the NQ was? It was here at 6:35 when we confirmed at 6:40. That was when you wanted to go long. You want to know the next time it was time to go long? When we broke oversupply at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time over the linear regression. That was a time to go long. Do we see why those plays were times to go long? I really don't like that. I see it a lot on social media when I like go through Twitter or stock twits or shit like that. Should we go long here, or when should we go long? How do you not know? How do you not know? Then you're trading blind. You're trading blind. You don't know. It means you don't have no edge that you're looking for. You're not looking for some specific setup, some specific pattern, right? If you need to know where support is at, if you need to know where resistance is at, that's a different question. But just wondering, should you go long here, makes no sense. What's your setup? Trade has to be justified always. Tesla chart looks exactly like the NQ. Puts in a high, pulls back to the 20 in linear, hopped off with. NVIDIA was a beautiful fucking setup here, guys. 6:35 in the morning. Beautiful setup. That's up about $5-6. Wow. Also, just kind of reading a lot of the messages that were in the daily gains and whatever, right? The gains and losses channel yesterday. Make sure you guys are using this. I'm sure you guys are, but make sure you guys are using same risk size dependent on how much risk you're giving up, right? So if you're giving up 20 to 25 points, 30 points, how many contracts are you, how many dollars are you wanting to lose on that, right? Is it $100? Maybe you can only play 2 contracts. Is it $200? Maybe you can play 3 or 4, so forth and so forth. So make sure your position sizing is correctly, so that way if you are wrong, you're not going to get hit too bad, right? Make sure you're not holding for more, trying to make more. You're just staying more patient. There's no rush. Again, especially for people who are on these prop firms, I get it that we buy some of these prop firms. We get them on sale. They're cheap. Maybe we're not close to passing in that first 30 days and it's going to renew. The decision to be made is not whether to gamble aggressively and try to pass them very quickly or blow them up and wait for another sale. The decision to be made is, how well have I been doing? And if I give this another 10 days, if I give this another 20 days, could I see myself passing? And at that point in time is when you need to make the decision whether you want to pay for that second month. Because if I'm up $1,000 or I'm up $800 or I'm up $900 or I'm up $1,500 and I need to make $3,000 on an evaluation, and let's say I got 3 or 4 days left before they hit me with renewing it, I'm gonna let it renew. They can charge me whatever they want to charge me, and I'll take my sweet ass time the next 30 days to get that extra X amount of dollars that I need to pass. That way I'm calm. That way I'm not making any stupid decisions. That way I'm not stressed. I've got plenty of time. I believe that 60 days is more than enough time to pass these, even with losing days in there, right? Because we want to keep our losing days small. We want to keep our losing days tight, right? I would definitely not recommend to lose any more than $500, right? Any more than $500. I would like the losses around 250 or under. That'll keep you in the game to pass a little bit sooner. And you can kind of work from there. You can kind of work from there. And also make sure we're not adjusting our stops, right? If we got a reason that we're taking the trade, that stop loss, the max pain, right? Our max pain can move when we're in profit. If we're not winning the trade, that stop loss can't move. We set a max pain because it's there for protection. It's so you don't get blown up, right? It's so you don't get blown up. Now you should never get blown up on a stop loss that you set as a max pain ever. Like it shouldn't even piss you off, right? It shouldn't even piss you off, because put it this way, even if your stop loss was 60 points, 75 points, how many contracts should you be playing on that one particular trade? Probably only one, right? $100, lose $100, lose 120, lose 140 bucks. That shouldn't piss you off. Like that's a scratch trade. You know what we call that? We call that losing a cup of coffee, right? You lost a cup of coffee, right? We're not going to sit here and dwiddle daddle over 100 fucking bucks on one particular trade. You can get that back in 1, 2, 3 trades, easy, like easy, right? So your max pain doesn't get stopped. So even if you get into the trade and it just doesn't work, you don't like make it bigger, like you don't like adjust it down so you can, oh well, let me just give it a little bit more room. Like you have because your best trades, right? And take this point into consideration. Your best trades, I want you to think about it right now. The trades that you guys win, do you have to go adjusting your stops crazy? Do you have to sit there and watch the candlesticks like a freaking hawk, or does it just go? Right? When you go back test and even if you didn't take a trade and you look at a beautiful setup, right? A beautiful setup that aligns with something that you normally play, and you're like, man, that thing ran for 30, 40 points. Does it ever really squeamish you around? Does it come back down, wick down below and go a little lower and then come back up? No, it just goes, right? You don't have to do anything on a winning trade. Trading is all probabilities. You don't know what side of the probability you're going to be on. I don't care if you're trading the same strategy, the same setup. No two trades correlate with each other, ever. So it doesn't matter if I'm taking the same setup and the same play. That has nothing to do with the last play that I won or lost. Because I don't know. It's like rolling the dice. I don't know what the hell I'm going to roll, right? It's like spinning the ball on the roulette table. I don't know if it's going red or green. There's a probability, there's a 50% chance that it lands on red, black, or green, right? A little bit of house edge to the green side. But what I'm saying is that if you don't know if it's going to win or lose, the only thing you can control is how much you're going to lose if you're on the wrong side of the probability. Then, and only then, you put the amount of money that you want to risk on that one particular trade based on how much that potential trade could lose. Because there's always a possibility. I kind of feel like, and I'm not speaking to anyone specific in here, I'm just speaking to the retail trader community as a whole. Everyone out there. I kind of feel like, sometimes I feel like people or traders don't feel like they know what they're doing, or don't feel like their strategy works, or don't feel like they got a good feel of things unless they're like never losing, or like never having green days, or like when their setup hits doesn't stop them out in 30 seconds. Because if you take a trade and it stops you out a minute later and it looked beautiful and it looked like everything was done right and it doesn't work, well, it's the strategy. Maybe you need to go to a different time frame. Maybe it's nothing. It's the name of the game. That's always going to happen. I've been in this game 8.5 years. It still fucking happens to me every single fucking day. Every single fucking day, I find something that looks beautiful, like it's gonna fucking break out, and it doesn't do it, right? Doesn't do it. For example, I've been sitting in Tesla since damn near off the open, right? You guys may have seen my message. Tesla over first hour highs looks great. Tesla over yesterday's highs, this thing can stretch. And what does it do? It pulls back from 244.69 all the way to 242. $2. I'm still sitting in it. Why? It hasn't lost anything yet. It hasn't lost anything yet. It just came down. It just, yeah. Did it put me at break even? Did it put me a little bit into the red? Of course. This stupid SOB is coming all the way back now. It didn't lose anything yet. It's over the 20. It's over the 50, the 200. I'm not going to get shaken out of this thing because it pulled back 2 candles. Fucking higher time frame charts look great, right? Higher time frame charts look great. So again, sometimes things will look perfect and they don't do what you want them to do when you want them to do it. But that doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. That doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing, right? And so it's like that mindset, you guys got to kick. Like, I don't know what's happening, you know. Man, I did really well last week, but this week I can't catch a bid. Guys, you're going to have cold streaks. Like you are, like, it's just going to happen. You might have technical issues with your platform, with your broker, with slippage. You might have personal time constraint issues. Maybe you got to go to work. Maybe you had to leave the screens. Maybe you just set a stop loss and a take profit and you had a jet and you couldn't watch the charts. Those are things beyond your control. I get it, but they're going to happen. You guys are never going to get away from that, ever. So if you're looking, and I want to make this clear, if you're looking for a time when you feel that you can control every single loss and every single winner, and you know exactly what's going to go on, you're in for a rude awakening. It never changes. Every single day, I still get up and I still have no idea what the fuck the market's doing. All I have is a plan. And all I do is wait for a plan. And I'm not just speaking for myself, but other traders who do this full time, who, you know, make a lot more money than I do doing this. Nobody knows anything. So you're never going to feel like you understand it. You're never going to feel like you understand it all. What you get better at is understanding what you do, your size, your setups, your entries and exits. That's what you get better at doing. Okay. So that gets comfortable. And over time, what makes things a lot easier, and I kind of wrote about it yesterday, is having more fucking money. That's all it is, guys. It's like, you know, I gave this scenario yesterday. You got $100,000 in your bank account and you guys lose $150 on a trade. Do you think you're even sweating that? Like, do you think you're sweating that? It's all relevant. Your losses are all relevant to what's in your account. Your loss, I can tell always. And I've been doing this for 3.5 years, where I teach traders or trade with traders, right? I can tell who's got a small account or who's tight to the vest with their cash. And I can tell who is desperate to pass a prop firm and who's not desperate to pass a prop firm. Those who are desperate to pass in a limited amount of time make stupid, foolish decisions because they're overextending themselves and they're too worried about 1 or 2 losses. They're going to happen. The only reason why you're worried about 1 or 2 losses is because you lost too much. You're trading too big a size. You don't want to play 1 contract, 2 contract. You don't want to take $40. You don't want to take $50. I get it. Like, it's nothing to fucking write home about, but you do that shit 1,000 times and it will be. You do it 100 times and it will be. Right? You don't have to make $250 a day. You don't have to make $300 a day. You don't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do anything. It's all about stacking. You got to stack it. Compounding. Let the time pass. We're day traders. We can make fast money. But we want to make it over time, for a long time. We don't want to be in this game for, 30 days, trying to make as much money as we can in 30 days and fall off the face of the planet. We still want to be doing this 12 months later, 24 months later. So I'm just trying to throw out things right now, comments, statements, things that maybe resonate with you. Again, if they don't resonate with you, that's fine. That means that that's not your issue. But if it's hitting you, if it's resonating with you, and you're thinking, man, well, yeah, I kind of do that, or I kind of think like that, then yes, then you need to change the way that you think, and you need to change how you're approaching this, right? Everyone's different. Getting rejected again at 16,113 in that range. We're back down at the 5 and 10 moving average. So did anyone, you don't have to answer aloud, just think to yourself or whatever. Did anyone take the bounce play off of the linear regression, off of the 20? If you were looking for the pullback, what was your move? We pulled back in, little baby candle off of support, green taking out baby candle, green taking out previous red candle, long. Somewhere between 1660 all the way up to 16,100. It's 40 points. Anyone take that? Right? Anyone take that? If you didn't, well, then maybe that's not your type of setup. So if you like, you have to be looking for that, right? Like if you're not looking for that bounce and you're looking for the high of day to be broken, then you need the high of day to get broken, put in a high, pull back, and then take out the new high for you to go long. So if you're wondering, where should you get long? You should have been long already. You should have been long off the bounce. But if it takes out 16,113, can I get long? I don't, if you want to take the first move, you know, what do you want to do? Typically the first move puts in a move, puts in a high, pulls back, consolidates. Are you going to get shaken out on the pullback over the new high of day? We got to ask yourself these questions when you're trading, right? I ask myself this shit all the time. Is this worth it for me? Do I want to sit and pull back? Where can it pull back to? I always go to the negative first. Where is this going to pull back to when I get in? I'm expecting it to pull back. I'm expecting to get blown out of the water in the first 5 minutes. Okay, if I get blown out of the water, how much am I going to lose? It's not worth it for me. I'll sit this one out. I'll wait for another setup. Right? I play these scenarios in my head 1,000 times in a day. Like my mind is racing, you know. And I haven't even had any coffee yet. You know, I don't take no fucking medication to make me focus. I don't do none of that crap, right? Like, so it's just me naturally, you know, I'm an overthinker. So I'm always analyzing different scenarios, different outcomes. And when I find one that aligns with my setup, I find one that aligns with my risk and something that I'm comfortable with, I shoot the dice. That's it. And that's how you guys have to be. You don't know if it's going to win or lose. All you know is how much you're risking on that trade. And also, guys, when you are trading, for those of you guys who are trading prop, when you guys are trading and you start winning trades, and even if it's small numbers, 50 here, 100 here, something like that, you have to trade until you're able to stop on the day, whether it's green or red or flat. So what that means is there is going to be times where you have to make a harsh decision, like, hey, I'm up 120 bucks today, but this next trade, I really want to take it. I want to go from 120 to 250, but the loss, if I lose, it's going to be $180, right? Is that worth it? Is it worth it to give everything back on one potential trade? Let's say you took 3 trades, you're up 130 bucks, right? I'm just using generic fictitious numbers. You took 3 trades, you're up $140. This next trade, if it loses, you're going to lose $100. Do you want to end the day on $40? If the answer is no, you turn your screens off, you walk away. You come back tomorrow. But I think a lot of you guys out there are not looking at that. You're just like looking at, I'm up 140. If I take one more, I might be up 200. I might be up 250. Let me make a little bit more. That'll feel good. I got 5 accounts. That'll feel good. No. Are you okay with giving it all back on one trade? If you're not, you gotta walk away. You gotta walk away.
Q is kind of holding here at yesterday's highs.
Yeah. There's a huge last hour candle. Kind of took out all the supply, so it's pulling back now, which is healthy. That's what you want to see. You want to see a healthy pullback. So let's see what we do off this pullback. Kind of broke yesterday's highs here. This daily candle looks fantastic. Market's only up 34 points right now. It's nothing. You know, it's nothing. This thing can finish up, down, minus 100, minus or plus 100. So we've got room still. We definitely got space today for a move. Just be patient and wait for something to happen. So I've got the highs at 16,113. I've got a rising 20-day moving average sitting at 16,058. This has been an active long since 6:35 in the morning. Over 984. There's been no short-term change in trend all day. Pullbacks is not a change in trend, it's a pullback. The trend is still higher.
Yeah, I mean, we went through, what, 6 weeks of straight up, and then it consolidated sideways for a week and a half, and now we're kind of pushing higher.
Exactly.
If we break that 113, I have us potentially pushing up to 16,190 area.
Yeah, that would be a good breakout. I'm just looking at a 4-hour chart right now.
Yeah, it looks like where we were at on November 29th. That's the high.
What I like that I'm seeing is these Bollinger Bands on a daily chart are starting to contract. Now, again, it doesn't mean we have to break out to the high side. We could break to the low side, but the tighter that these things get, that move, right? That move that we get is going